Hi, I'm Joni Patry, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Well, today I want to talk about a very important astrological event that doesn't take place that often, but it really does give a sense of urgency in what is happening in the world. And I felt like I wanted to really inform you of what's going on with this. So before I start, I want to remind everyone to sign up for my free newsletter. Go to galacticcenter.org and you can get all of my predictions delivered to your email address every week free. While you're at my galacticcenter.org, remember to check out my Patreon. There you can become part of a spiritual community. Come together with me every week. You don't need to know astrology to be part of this. And last but not least, you've got to know about my Galactic Planner. Here you can have all of your personal predictions delivered to your email into your calendar, and every day you will be prepared for what the stars offer you personally every day. So with that, let's continue on. Remember that my Galactic Planner is galacticplanner.com. Join it and you will love it. But let's continue on with the astrological event that is so important. It is called the Kalasarpa Yoga. And Kalasarpa, Kala means time, Sarpa means serpent, so it's the time serpent yoga. But what it involves is Rahu and Ketu. And Rahu is the north node of the moon. Ketu is the south node of the moon. Remember, I am a Vedic sidereal astrologer, so I am talking about the nodes in terms of them being Rahu and Ketu. Now, the nodes create an axis because they are exactly opposite from each other. And the nodes of the moon are actually arbitrary points in space. And what you're going to find is that what they are really a combination of coming together of the earth, the sun, and the moon. That's what Rahu and Ketu actually are. And they're points in space where the moon actually will cross over the ecliptic going upward. The ecliptic is the parent path of the sun around the earth. And when the moon hits that ecliptic going upward, it's Rahu. When it hits it going downward, exactly opposite, it's Ketu. So these this creates a line across the heavens or in a birth chart. And what's happening is a Kalasarpa Yoga is when all of the planets are on one side of this nodal axis. And it happens pretty frequently, but it is sort of rare when all the planets are on one side of the nodal axis. Now, in Vedic astrology, the three outer planets are not included in this yoga. So Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto don't count. They can be outside, and actually at this point in time, Pluto is outside of this nodal axis. But starting on March 29th, when Saturn goes into Pisces, we start the Kalasarpa Yoga, where all the planets, excluding the three outers, will be on one side of Rahu and Ketu. Now, Mars will break this yoga, and this doesn't happen till July 28th. So from March 29th through July 28th of 2025, we are in the throes of a Kalasarpa Yoga. And what it actually means is that there is an entrapment. So with all the planets entrapped on one side of this axes, for 2 weeks, every month, we're going to have the Kalasarpa Yoga. See, every 2 weeks, the moon goes through all of the 12 signs every month, right? So for 2 weeks, it will be entrapped in the Kalasarpa Yoga, but then there'll be 2 weeks that it will be on the outside that kind of breaks this yoga, but not really. This yoga is in effect, let me just say, from March 29th till July 28th. And what it does is it means that things are entrapped, there's no freedom. And remember that Rahu and Ketu deal with karma and destiny. And they really do determine our future, our destiny. Ketu is our past. They are so important in understanding in a birth chart everything to do with your purpose, your meaning, your past, your future in this life. But they deal with the fated events as well. Fated destiny. That's what I call Rahu and Ketu. So when we have this yoga, it means there will be fated events that are of a destiny nature. In other words, they are fated, they must happen in order to bring the transformational change that they are about. So with Rahu and Ketu, they are at this point in time in Pisces and Virgo. And this entrapment means something is going to happen that involves, well, spirituality, reality, truth, all of these things. Mark my words, between this window, the world will change and be completely different. This I know 100%. So, looking at this yoga, let me explain to you a little bit about this yoga. People that have this yoga in their charts, in their natal charts, they have lives of extremes, of highs and lows. They really do. It's like when they tell people about their life, people actually wouldn't believe them. They think they're making it up or exaggerating. It's so extreme because they have such extreme highs and lows. But here's one thing that I can tell you about it. When you hit a low point, you will always rise to a much higher position than you were before. That is when your life is active, not when you're, like 100 years old. But you get my point. It's true. People with this yoga do go through their low periods, but they resurrect and rise to a much higher period following. Let me give you an example. Guess who has Kalasarpa Yoga in their chart? Donald Trump. Who would have thought? Well, for one thing, when he went bankrupt in the real estate business, that he could have risen to a much higher position and become president. And then after being president, when he was practically the most hated man in the world, who could have thought that he could have risen again to become president a second time and be on the cover of a magazine as the man of the year, when before that he lost the election and he was the most hated man of the year? This is Kalasarpa Yoga. That's how extreme it is. His chart is probably the most extreme. Another person that has it is Sylvester Stallone. I mean, his life was highs and lows and going to the bottom and rising to a much higher position than before. Another one was George Bush Jr., the President Bush. George W. Bush. He had highs and lows that were so extreme. I have to say I have it too, and I will validate that life does have highs and lows. I don't know that it's as extreme as some of the cases I just discussed for you, but it's when all the planets are on one side of the nodal axes. You may have it too, but I can guarantee you when you go into a low point, one thing for you to always remember, because I know I always do, you will rise to a much higher position than before. That's a Kalasarpa. So talking about it being an effect for our world, we're going to go into a low point and everything is going to be fated and like there's no way out, we're trapped. But guess what? Just like it does in individuals' charts, it's going to rise us up to a much higher and better place than before. We have to know this. You have to know this so it can give you hope and know that there is light at the end of this tunnel, because I promise you by the end of this year and into 2026 and 2027, the world will be healed from all of the chaos and problems that we have right now. And we haven't even seen it all yet. The Kalasarpa will make it all explode and come into being. But then we will rise to a much higher and better place than we were before. So with that, I guess I'm going to close. I want you to know that the Kalasarpa isn't all that bad, even though in India, let me just put it this way. If you go to India and you show them your chart and you have Kalasarpa Yoga, they freak out. They say you need prayers to the day you die. But I have seen a different reality with this yoga. It is where cycles will change and you rise above it all. That's how I see the Kalasarpa Yoga. That's the power of the nodal axes of Rahu and Ketu. So with that, I think I'll close. If you would like more information on me, if you would like a reading, or if you would like to learn Vedic astrology, join my Patreon, sign up for my newsletter, and of course, get my Galactic Planner. You can find all that on my website, galacticcenter.org. Thank you.